This is Paul McGann, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast.
The tangents as we continue all the way to episode 519 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. And at any point during this podcast, this podcast catches on fire. It is not our fault. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a Derek with the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, I hope everybody's staying warm where you are. Those of y'all in the other hemisphere at the moment, enjoy it while you got it. It is cold.
Yeah, and I'm colder than where Rachel is. I could have said Holly from Hoth for my opening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you even have snow, or is it just cold?
We have snow.
No,
We have snow, and it's cold. The snow is actually stuck around this year.
See, it's just cold here. Like, we don't even have snow.
Ooh.
To, like, even justify it being this cold. It's just cold. But dry. So, which sometimes I think makes it worse.
Mm-hmm.
Could be worse. Could be in Chicago. No, actually, you're further north than that, but yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I get
you could be you could be that side of the lake.
Right, yes.
Anyways, we need to get to the news. And it's like I spoke it into I can't speak. So how did I speak something to an existence when I can't speak? I don't know. Magic. But so I spoke this into existence last episode. I talked about how there's supposedly another teaser for Doomsday out there with our folks from Wakanda. And it's like, who knows if and when that shows up? When did it show up? The very next day.
Yeah. And you have posted how I'm just like, this is the
way things go.
Oh yeah, typical Fiveish fan girl luck.
Yep. So thank you, Joe and Anthony Russo, for that. Thank you. But hey, everything I'd seen, it mentioned Shuri. It mentioned the shot of Namor.
Yep.
Did not mention anything about the Fantastic Four. So that was a pleasant surprise, you know.
Yes.
You got he's like M'Baku, King of Wakanda. He's like Ben from Yancey Street in the Bronx. You know? So it's like at some point after the Fantastic Four make their way onto our universe, they end up in Wakanda. So that should be interesting. So, and speaking of the Russo brothers, they have been letting us know that the teasers that we've gotten so far are not just teasers. They posted on, I think it was Instagram, maybe, one of their social medias that said, what you've been watching for the last 4 weeks are not teasers or trailers. They are stories. They're clues. Pay attention. # Doomsday has begun. And then they include screenshots of not just the 4 teasers, yeah, because that's what we're going to call them, or little Doomsday teasers, but also our Doomsday related post or mid-credit scenes from Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. It's all connected. So, and of course, you know, at this point, everybody's speculating about what it means. What does it mean? So, and the doomsday clock is going. It's on YouTube. We're 10 days or 10 months, 28 days, 5 hours, 35 minutes, and 50 some odd seconds as we're recording this very second. Doomsday is coming.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah. So we shall see. We shall see. The hype is getting there, though. What? Meanwhile, we're all like, where are we going to get our first look at the new Spider-Man movie? Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe tomorrow there'll be another case of speaking into existence, manifestation at its best.
Maybe that'll be our Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah,
with Spider-Man instead. So, I mean, of the Marvel characters, Spider-Man definitely carries a lot of weight when it comes to fandom. So, because I'm in the middle. I'm this time, yeah. At this point, I'm literally in the middle of moving. Now, I'm not in the process of getting ready to move. I am actually moving. We found a place, but we have 2 full bathrooms upstairs. One's part of the master suite, and then the other's for the other bedrooms, the spare bedrooms, or whoever. I mean, anybody can use whatever bathroom they want. But as far as the floor plan is concerned, and because we have the blessing of a bit more space, and also the time and just all the fun things that come with being an adult, with adult money. I wasn't going to be as kind of cobbled together decor as our apartment back when we were college students and broke. And also partially because one of Chauncey's Christmas presents to me this year was a bath set that was Marvel. So I was like, no, I got this. Might as well work with this and make it cohesive. So our bathroom right off the master bedroom is going to be Star Wars, because we already had a Star Wars shower curtain and some Star Wars stuff that was in a bathroom. And the other one's going to be Marvel. But finding stuff to decorate the Marvel themed bathroom that doesn't make it just look like it's a Spider-Man themed bathroom is really hard, because a lot of the stuff out there is either just a bunch of Marvel characters, Avengers type, or it's Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man is everywhere. But finding something with any of the other characters is not easy. Unless I want to go to the internet, and I'm trying to avoid
going on the internet.
Going on the internet, at least to, the big warehouse, that has everything from A to Z. So yeah, if anybody has any good suggestions on where to find stuff for both bathrooms that's not the giant conglomerate online, please let me know. So anyway, that's kind of it for that, other than in the feeds we have the latest episode of Gold Standard for you to listen to, where we talk about the third entry, the final entry, the finale, as it were, even though they're not they're very loosely connected, of the infamous Cornetto trilogy, brought to you by Simon Pegg, with At World's End. or not at World's End, it's the World's End. I keep on calling it at World's End. It is the World's End because that is the name of the pub.
Gotcha.
So it's a little tongue in cheek. So, but yeah, if you don't know the Cornetto trilogy, it's 3 films. That Simon Pegg is the lead in all 3 of them. The people surrounding him have come and changed, although I think Nick Frost is also in all 3 of them. But it starts with Shaun of the Dead. That's probably the most well-known, when Simon Pegg was at GalaxyCon back in December. So many people wearing their best Shaun of the Dead outfits. And then you have Hot Fuzz, which is the second one. And then you have The World's End, which is the third one. So, which I'd seen 2 out of the 3. I had just not gotten around to The World's End yet. So now I've seen the entire Cornetto trilogy. And if it wasn't so darn cold outside, I'd almost want ice cream. But no, thank you. But anyway, that's there in the feeds for ya. All right, moving on to feedback. Of course, we got some feedback from Shalane. And Shalane's feedback is, just to preface, Shalane's feedback is a combination of feedback for us, but also kind of for Gold Standard, because the Venn diagram is highly overlapped.
There's overlap, yeah.
There's a lot of overlap between the two. So if you're like, what is she talking about? It's probably something Gold Standard related, because it's essentially we're all just one big happy family of podcasting. So
yep.
Oh, anyway, she starts with, hello, friends. I'm going to start this feedback with movie musicals. I think Heather Bedore is going to pick, besides Into the Woods, as on Gold Standard, Phantom of the Opera, Sweeney Todd, Jersey Boys, In the Heights, Fiddler on the Roof, Thoroughly Modern Millie, and The Producers. We'll have to wait and see. I am not privy to what other people have submitted to Gold Standard. Nick has that, and I, unless... until he lets me know what is coming up, I'm as clueless as the rest of y'all on what's coming around the corner. So, which most of the time, that's fine. Now here are the movies I think Rachel's going to pick: Mamma Mia, Les Mis, Grease, Annie, anything Disney, Little Shop of Horrors, The Music Band, Wicked Part 1 and For Good. Honestly, I probably need to send Nick an updated list, to be honest with you. It's been a hot minute since I sent him my list, so I should probably send him an updated one.
Or did some of Shalane's suggestions spark something?
I mean, some of these we have already covered on this show.
Yes.
For anyone listening that was like, oh, I want to hear about that. If you don't want to wait for Gold Standard, you could go listen to our episodes about some of those. I said, I almost forgot one more musical celebrating a big anniversary this you girls should talk about Rent. Well, we talked about that on Gold Standard, though. So, I like Rent. It is a bit sad, though.
Yes.
It's not necessarily a very happy musical, all things considering. Catchy songs? Yes.
Yes.
Very, the recognizable faces? Absolutely. You're like, hey, that's that person from that thing. I actually had to let somebody know that Rent is where Idina Menzel got her start, because they were like, what? It's like, no, she did not get her big break as Elphaba, the OG Elphaba in Wicked. She'd been on stage for quite a while before that. She was in Rent, and then she was in the movie, but she originated that role also in the stage version. Going back to Avengers Doomsday, it's going to be the new Barbenheimer. I saw a meme saying that the 2025 Barbenheimer was Superman and Fantastic Four First Steps, and they don't share the same release date, just the same month. Speaking of movie sharing days, I think I know what the real 2025 Barbenheimer is: Lilo and Stitch and Mission Impossible. So Mission Stitch, SpongeBob, and Avatar Fire and Ash. So SpongeBob, Fire and Ash. Honestly, combining those two might make it more interesting.
Yeah.
Also, Avengers Doomsday is being released on December 18th this year. I read that Star Wars The Force Awakens was released on that same date 10 years ago. Yes, it was. Crazy. Yeah. Any thoughts on the casting choices for the upcoming live action Tangled movie? I've seen supposed announcements, but I've also seen things where they said, no, actually this person has backed out and someone else is replacing them. So it's like, I haven't seen anything that's like absolutely definitive yet. At least as far as the pages that I tend to peruse on the social medias. So we shall see. We may have to wait.
Until it comes to an official website, sometimes those fan pages I do not.
Yeah.
Do not trust.
Yeah. So fun fact, a lot of actors from live action remakes were on the Disney Channel first. For example, Naomi Scott, and Halle Bailey. Good Lord, I cannot talk. Halle Bailey, and the actor playing Flynn Rider was also in a Disney Channel original movie. The new Tangled movie is being directed by the same guy who gave us The Greatest Showman, so I think it's a good hands. Well, I mean, as far as being a musical, yes. Most Disney live action remakes are directed by good directors. Yes. Also, Catherine Hahn, who plays Agatha in the MCU, is talking about possibly playing Mother Gothel. That was a rumor that I did see. I do need to happen.
Yes, that needs to happen. I saw that. I'm just like, ooh,
absolutely
she'd be perfect.
Oh my God, so good. Yes.
I mean, she pulled it off with Agatha. She can pull it off with Mother Gothel.
Oh my God, she can. Oh, her singing "Mother Knows Best." She's gonna chew the scenery like nobody's business.
Yeah, she's a gem of an actress because I
love her.
I first saw her in the TV show Crossing Jordan as a gal who worked in the morgue named Lily Lebowski, and had the comedic spark, but it was like, ooh, when she was on screen, it was like, okay, yep, I watch her.
Yeah, I know. I think I saw her first when she was on Parks and Rec, but she wasn't a regular. She was a recurring character, but she's hilarious every time she appeared on Parks and Rec. So, and her character on Parks and Rec is like, ugh, spirit animal. But yeah, I saw that speculation as well. And I'm like, yeah, that needs to happen, please and thank you.
That's a very good speculation.
That I could put my support behind that right there. Do I need to vote somewhere? Please tell me.
Yeah, I will put a dollar down.
Yeah, I will tick a box. Speaking of good hands, Dave Filoni has become chief creative officer at Lucasfilm, which was going to happen when Kathleen Kennedy announced she was stepping down. Yes, that is putting Lucasfilm in very good hands. No offense to Kathleen. She tried.
Right. Yes.
Unfortunately, just things have, didn't quite necessarily work out, I think, the way that they hoped to. But all things considering, I think she did a pretty good job. But yes, Dave Filoni is a fantastic replacement for her.
And I'm kind of also liking the call that they're making with the Star Wars parks by adding some of the OG stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because when Chauncey and I were at Disneyland and we were talking about like how long Galaxy's Edge, has been around, and because it's like, at least in Florida, Galaxy's Edge was still under construction last time we set foot in the Florida parks, and that was in 2017. So, but I mean, considering that, the idea of Galaxy's Edge is more, we knew it was coming way, obviously way before it actually was opened. So we've known about Galaxy's Edge for more than a decade at this point. And as I said in my Disneyland recap, is absolutely just brilliantly built. And they can easily integrate some of the OG trilogy stuff, and just it's just gonna make it's adding a cherry to a sundae at this point.
Right.
So I think
not that we of our age group don't enjoy the new stuff, but we would also like tribute to be made to original.
Thankfully there is some connections between the OG trilogy and the new stuff.
Right.
Obviously you've got, Chewie is a character you see every now and then. He connects the two, he bridges the two. Obviously the Mandalorian takes place not too long after the OG trilogy, and you've got Mando and Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not like it's completely like they've completely forgotten the OG trilogy. And that's kind of the nice thing too, is because they've created a land that has not been portrayed in any of the media. So it's its own, it's its own quote unquote original creation. Mm-hmm. So it's, this outport of Batuu, and because it is kind of their, created specifically for the parks and then integrated into the larger Star Wars lore as a whole, there's no canon necessarily that they have to be, beholden to, as far as, well, this character never went here or could have ever been here because that land didn't exist beforehand. So it kind of just works, I think. So I'm totally here for some of the you got Darth Vader every now and then too. But you kind of can't have something Star Wars without Darth Vader. Right. At some point. So
he's got to show up.
Yeah, I've seen that they've got a Luke Skywalker now that has been making appearances. So I think it'll be a good addition. I don't think it's gonna take away from anything. I think it's just gonna be adding to something that's already pretty awesome. It's like, when you get a big old yummy looking pile, plate full of pasta at an Italian restaurant, and they're like, "Would you like some more cheese added to that?" And you're like, "Yes, please." It's kind of like that.
Yep. See when, and they're standing there 3 minutes later.
Yes, like, just ground up the entire thing and just leave it here.
You can just leave it on the table. You can have it back when I leave.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the fact that I already knew I was having pasta for dinner later, I'd be like, damn it, now I want pasta. But I already know that I'm getting pasta for dinner. So yay! Anyway, of course, we talk about Disney, and it really ends up going to food.
We would be happy.
Lou is trained as well. Anyway, back to Shalacy. But besides the new Hunger Games prequel we're also getting Narnia, the Magician's Nephew, the first Narnia book to be adapted. I read it's being directed by Greta Gerwig. Again, good director. I'm still wondering if Meryl Streep will voice Aslan. I also read Daniel Craig is going to be in the movie. I'll be patient until you girls talk about the Narnia series, especially when Chrissy's there, because she knows those books better. Also, I was right that Cate Blanchett is returning for the live-action How to Train Your Dragon 2. So, it's been so long since I read the Narnia books.
Me too.
Is not even funny. So I seriously need to do a refresh on those.
Same here. Thinking we're talking grade school the last time I read those.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe at best early middle school. And that's still a
Yep.
very long time
Long
ago.
time ago.
I can't even
Yes.
think about. So,
You and me both, girl.
yeah.
You and me both.
So, but yeah, we did. We definitely need to talk Narnia at some point. That's a very, it's a very important book series as far as just literature is concerned.
Yes.
Even though it's not necessarily, like some others as far as like the fandom is concerned, but it's a very important series
Yes.
of books. So we do need to give them their due, but I seriously need to do a refresh. Uh so especially the ones beyond The Lion and Witch in the Wardrobe, which is where everybody starts.
Right.
So even though technically, as Shalane said, that's not actually the first book.
First book, no.
Right. When I sent my last gold standard feedback before my break, I know you girls talked about West Side Story. I meant it was better to talk about that than the 1996 Romeo and Juliet. Well, yes. I mean, first of all, one's a musical, and second, it doesn't have Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not actually speaking Shakespeare. I prefer my Shakespearean adaptations where they're not doing all the these, thous, and that type of English. West Side Story is a great Romeo and Juliet adaptation. Same with Shakespeare in Love and Titanic, since those won Best Picture. I think my feedback was misread, but I'll be patient when you talk about West Side Story here. Yes, we should compare the Oscar-winning version to Steven Spielberg's. Compare and contrast. So far, the Shakespeare adaptations you've talked about are Romeo and Juliet, The Lion King, and 10 Things I Hate About You. Also, Bill Murray. I realized you haven't talked about the Grand Budapest Hotel yet. I must have been thinking of a different podcast. That's fair. I'm kind of the same way, too. I listen to so much stuff and read so many books. I'm like, wait, where did I hear that? Or did I dream it? Or what? You talked about Newsies on Gold Standard, and the first Kenny Ortega film you talked about was Hocus Pocus, Amok, Amok, Amok. Plus for Dirty Dancing since he choreographed it. So we haven't done Dirty Dancing. We probably should. I'm surprised that's not one we haven't done that one on Gold Standard yet. So I was right that Heather would pick a movie musical on Gold Standard. I decided to let Heather and Rachel pick the musicals while I take a break from Gold Standard feedback and focus on this podcast. Newsies is the second Alan Menken musical you've covered after Beauty and the Beast. I'll be patient when you talk about it here, especially since Hocus Pocus is the only other Kenny Ortega movie so far. If you ever talk about High School Musical here, I'd love to join in because I know a lot about it. Fun fact, it was originally going to be a sequelish story to Grease about Danny and Sandy's kids, possibly played by Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake. I'm glad they did not do that.
Yeah.
Also, High School Musical has a big anniversary coming up. Yes, it does. Going back to Newsies, I'll say this for now. I love it, and the stage version is way better. That's fair. The second Die Hard just celebrated a big anniversary, even though Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Both the first and second films were released in July. Christmas in July. Other movies that take place at Christmas time but had summer releases: Batman Returns, Iron Man 3, and Annie. Another Christmas movie is a Nutcracker and Baby Barbie in the Nutcracker, too. Fun fact, Tim Curry is in that one. Yeah. July is stacked this year with Tom Holland movies, with The Odyssey and Spider-Man Brand New Day. I wouldn't be surprised if people do a Tom Holland double feature. I also think Dune Part 3, The Odyssey, and Michael, about Michael Jackson, could be Best Picture nominees this year. They have to be released, though, before the Oscars, though, and considering that none of those have been released yet, and we're supposed to get the Academy Award nominations, actually, I think this week. So maybe for next year's. Not this year. Speaking of, little side note, speaking of Michael, the Michael Jackson movie, I went and saw the MJ musical yesterday.
Oh, how was it?
It was actually very good. So I can't say I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. I think I just was like at the wrong age for like every time he became popular. Because like the musical in general takes place in like 1992, right before he starts the Dangerous World Tour.
Okay, yep.
So I would have been 9 when this musical takes place. So not quite the demographic there.
Right.
And obviously he got his start well before I was born. So when the Jackson 5 were big, I was not born yet. And when he started his own solo career, I would have been too young to care.
Because I have vague memories of when Thriller came out, because I might have been like 6 or 7 at the time. So
yeah. So it's like I understood that like he was big. He's a big star.
But just not how big.
But by the time I was like old enough to like know who he was and like recognize like when he's on TV and being talked about and stuff, he was like obviously. I mean, he still had a decent music career up until he passed, but he was more famous for being talked about.
Right.
By the time I got old enough to form any memories about Michael Jackson and who he was. So I think just age-wise, I just never was quite in the right demographic there for his stuff. But it was, I mean, it was still fun. It like I said, it takes place the few days before the Dangerous World Tour kicks off in Germany. And the musical was actually created by a couple of his choreographers, people who work with him. So it's historical fiction-ish. Because I think some of it is, you kind of have to base, I think a lot of what was said and what happened is probably based on secondhand accounts, not necessarily, obviously Michael is no longer around for him to tell his side of things. But then interspersed with the rehearsals and everything that goes into, getting ready to do, a show like what he did, is flashback scenes to, the start of the Jackson 5 and then him embarking on his solo career and eventually meeting Quincy Jones and, doing Thriller and, his relationship with his brothers and especially his mom and dad. His dad was a piece of work. Like I've always known that Joseph Jackson was not going to win Father of the Year.
Right.
For as long as I, like I said, was I old enough to learn more about Michael Jackson and his history? Yeah. But this does not paint his father in any positive light whatsoever, which, is probably fairly accurate from what I understand, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
yes.
the Jackson's dad was just an absolute garbage human being. And his mother put up with a lot of shit.
Yes.
For the sake of trying to keep her family together. It's a wonder Michael was able to have, honestly, the career that he had. So like some of the, yes, he was accused of a lot of things, and obviously, he was even went to trial for some of these accusations. He was never convicted. Obviously, court of opinion is a whole other thing.
Right.
I'm not necessarily like condoning anything he may or may not have done, but there's, when you look at his childhood and what he grew, the kind of environment he grew up in, it's no surprise that he was probably not completely mentally healthy,
Right.
to put it mildly. So it's a rather quite emotional. You've got 3 different guys playing Michael of different ages. The kid that plays young Michael, the Jackson 5 era, super talented. I mean, all 3 of them are super talented, but I mean, you got this young kid, who's probably early preteen age. I don't know how old he really is. I mean, he's supposed Michael was 10, 12, 13-ish, at the height of the Jackson 5 and eventually the Jacksons. But then he went solo at 16, essentially. And but then everybody else plays like multiple roles, depending on what time period you're looking at. So
now, is this the one that his nephew is in, or is that the other one that's coming out?
The movie is the one that his nephew is going to be in.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah. So, but this is, I mean, and the stage design is really cool. You just have a lot of stuff that you got. It's minimal actually as far as like set is concerned. They've got props and set pieces that come in and out, and again do double duty, if not triple duty in some cases. They do a lot of how things look as far as the environment, actually with changing like lighting and doing projections to make the space look from a like an industrial type space to the Apollo Theater.
Okay.
So it's really impressive. I mean, it's a good mix of like the really big hits, Beat It, Thriller, Bad, Black and White, but then there's also some, I think, probably lesser known, not as big hits in there as well, along with obviously some of the Jackson 5 stuff too, ABC and all that fun stuff. Oh, and obviously the choreography, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So and the guy that plays adult Michael is just this is the touring production. So the guy that's currently playing Michael on tour is super talented, super talented. He does a great job of sounding like Michael, both speaking and singing. He's got the moves and the choreography just down pat, which was not easy. I mean, because Michael was a very talented dancer, very distinct dancing style that was his own. And same way with the way he sings, it was very distinctive. So to be able to embody that, is really, really impressive. So yeah, if you get a chance to see it, like I said, it's on tour right now. Absolutely. You don't have to necessarily be a huge Michael Jackson fan to enjoy it, by any means. So, but it'll be interesting to see how, how they decide to tell history in the movie that's coming up with his nephew comparatively to this, because I mean the musical was made with the blessing of the Jackson estate, and like I said, it's a couple of his choreographers, so the people that did work with him and know him. The movie, obviously you're getting direct family involved with one of his nephews playing him, so it'll be interesting to see how they decide. And I think the biopic is probably going to be a bit more in depth too, as far as Michael's life is concerned. Like I said, the musical, it only goes up to like 1992. It goes to the start of the Dangerous World Tour, and that's where it ends. So anything that happened after that with him getting married and having kids and the lawsuits and his eventual death, it's not even part of it, though. I'm guessing the biopic probably will touch upon that, at least to a point, would be my guess, but I could be wrong. I guess that depends on and what kind of light it paints Joseph Jackson in. So
the family,
yeah. So anyway, but yeah, that was fun. It had been a hot minute since I'd been to the theater to see something, so that was a good way to spend a few hours yesterday. Get out of the house, but also stay out of the cold. Let's see. Changing topics a little bit. I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob or The Fairly Odd Parents growing up, and my siblings aren't introducing their kids to those shows either. I'll be patient with you girls. Talk about your favorite Nickelodeon shows. Oh, good lord. Where do I start? That's going to take some time for me to. I mean, it will be done eventually, but that's going to take some time for me to wrap my head around that. Nickelodeon raised me, essentially. Just depends on what time of the day I was in front of the TV. So here's why I'm taking a break from gold standard feedback. I felt bad when Spaceballs and Hairspray were on Patreon because Rachel would pick them for the main podcast. It's okay. As long as I get to talk about it eventually, it doesn't matter whether it's for Patreon or main podcast. I mean, to make care the other people that don't support the show on Patreon that they're missing out. I feel bad for them, but I need to be part of the discussion regardless. So that's all good. There's so many movies. We could have this show go for ages and we'd never cover everything. So please don't feel bad. So I'm letting Rachel pick Mel Brooks, Jon Favreau, and musicals. Heather pick musicals. Chrissy pick Studio Ghibli and movies she loves, and Zan pick out cult films and Tim Burton, and probably John Waters. It's about you letting you guys do your thing. Hey, the whole part of both of those shows, though, is to have our listeners feel like they can be involved in the conversation too. So. It doesn't necessarily mean that you've got to spend the money to become a supporter on Patreon so that you can tell us what movie you want us to cover. Sending feedback is fine. Even just we say that on here too. Even just sharing, liking posts on social medias, it all counts. So, when I mentioned Heather choosing Renaissance movies, I meant movies set in the Renaissance era, like Henry the Fifth. Wait, what's that Roman numeral again? Joan of Arc and Elizabeth. I picked Ever After for Patreon, but turned down being a guest. Heather joined instead, and I think she might choose Into the Woods. I thought 1917 would be a Patreon episode before Christmas, not after. Like that, Nick takes care of all that fun stuff. I just show up. I think Taylor Swift is the only artist to do an Eras tour, but I'd love to see Eras tour from Era Types. I think she means Era type tours. From Miley Cyrus, Katy Perry, Lady Gaga, Jonas Brothers, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, and Britney Spears. Other Taylor Swift movies you can talk about instead of Valentine's Day and not Cats are The Lorax, The Giver, and Amsterdam. Newsies is the 5th Disney movie talked about Gold Standard after the Muppet Christmas Carol, Snow White, Beauty and the Beast, and Encanto. Also for Avengers Doomsday. Don't you mean Monica Rambeau, not Maria? Yes, sorry. Brain fart. See, this Maria. Why? I mean, I know it's comics. It's not real life, but you could have named your kid a name that doesn't start with the same letter as yours. So that I wouldn't get confused, but yeah. About my third email, the one about the OG X-Men outfits. Please wait and read that one on the next episode. Like I said, the subject, sorry. The email also included an anniversary list of my thoughts about Wicked casting. And yes, and finally, yes, Stranger Things and Jane Cameron and Avatar are references to different movies. Well, yeah. Sorry, Shalane. I think we hadn't done feedback in so long and you'd sent so much. I was like, let's just do it all. Not necessarily paying attention to if you intended it to be part of a specific topic or not. So, I was just trying to catch up on the backlog. So sorry. And that's probably how I end up getting confused, because then it's like there's so much. And I get confuzzled sometimes because I'm old. Or at least that's the excuse I'm going with. Anyway, thank you, Shalane, for your feedback. As always, we always appreciate your feedback, no matter how much you send, whether it's just a few lines or a whole lot. So that was the other thing too. There's about the MJ musical. First of all, some very funny jokes in there that you have to experience them. Otherwise, it's, if I tried to tell you, it wouldn't be as funny. But it's funny because it's set in 1992. And one of the things that is a continuing thread is Michael keeps coming up with these ideas to make the tour like bigger and better and more exciting, and something that the fans are gonna get super excited about. When they go home, they'll be talking about it for weeks. And he just he wants to give the fans what they want. And plus he just has a lot of he's constantly thinking about new ways to tell stories through his music, and that includes costumes and choreography and sets and all that fun stuff. So he keeps coming up with ideas even though they're days away from the tour starting. And of course there's the money guy that's all like, that's going to cost so much money and we can't, I don't know if we can do that, make that a thing in 2 days and all that fun stuff. And they keep talking about how this is like, the biggest tour and nobody's ever done anything this big or this extravagant with this many costumes and sets and everything. And I'm like, until Taylor Swift comes along to do the Eras tour. Like, if Michael was still alive today and saw the Eras tour, I think he'd be impressed.
Yes.
Honestly, I think he would have been very impressed. But just every time they talked about how the Dangerous tour, it's like nobody's ever done anything on this scale because they were like 4 continents and so many countries and all these dancers and musicians. And I'm like, yeah, it's because they didn't know the Eras tour was going to be a thing like 30 something years.
Yep.
Moving on to this week's May topic. We've been sitting on this one for a while, but considering we're finally getting the next book literally tomorrow, Audible has got a countdown going, letting us know when the audio book will be ready to download. Unfortunately, it's going to be the middle of the night for both of us, but this is as good a time as any is when we're finally getting a new entry in the series after what book number is this?
19,
18, something like that. So there's so many books we can't even keep track of them all, and that's only if you count the main line.
Alarm.
Yes, major
spoilers. Yes,
so major spoilers for a book series that's been around for a while.
And if you don't want to get spoiled, please come back when you have a chance.
Yeah, and also the book series has been around for quite a while, and also has, once you include like the side jobs and stuff, has like 20
short stories
books in this series. Plus the short stories that appear in like other like compendiums of similar genre. If you're I guess if you're trying to stay completely spoiler free, then walk away. But otherwise, I mean, the series started in 2000, so it's been a hot minute. It's kind of like Doctor Who. Like, you're just now starting and you're trying not to get spoiled. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to go live under a rock until you get caught up or something. So but anyway, and I also wink wink nudge nudge alluded to last week's episode, we are finally talking the Dresden Files.
Yes. The other wizard Harry.
Yes, which I totally referenced yesterday when I was over visiting my dad and brother, and Chauncey and my brother were talking about something. I think they were just talking about the state of the world, honestly. Like you do. And they said something, and I said, for some reason I was able to reference Chicago, and I was talking about how it's actually, it's because I saw somebody post something on TikTok about how because people like to joke that we're in the wrong timeline or the worst timeline or whatever. And then somebody posted on TikTok a couple days ago that the only way we can get back into the proper timeline is if the Chicago Bears win the Super Bowl, because all of this started when the Cubs won the World Series. And I'm like, well, yeah, it's because Chicago is a huge nexus for magical energies. And my brother and Chauncey both looked at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? Language warning in this too, just because there's harsh language in these books. So holy shit, hellhounds. Harry, don't curse. Sorry. Holy shit,
hell's bells.
Heckhounds. Heckhounds.
Heckhounds. Hell's bells. Harry. What?
Oh my. And then I had to try to explain that yes, the Cubs thing was an actual curse, like a literal curse, and yes, a goat was involved, but not in the way you
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
And they were just like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Ugh, you guys don't read." They
or don't
do.
listen to audiobooks.
They do. They just don't read the same stuff I do. So
Yeah.
anyway,
I think
Dresden
I think
Files.
Chauncey would enjoy Dresden though.
Yes. Yes. Oh, but yeah, the Dresden Files, written by Jim Butcher. It is about a wizard because this is a world where magic and cryptids and fairies and all that crazy, crazy stuff exists. Some try to keep it on the down low, others not so much. Harry is very much, I mean, he makes his living in Chicago as a private investigator, but he openly advertises the fact that he's a wizard and sometimes uses his magical abilities to help solve cases. But in between his private investigating, where it's just a lot of like, oh, yeah, it's your typical private investigation stuff for the most part. You know, somebody cheating, finding lost people, you know, that sort of thing. Sometimes lost objects. But he also does work with the Special Investigations Unit of the Chicago PD, which they are kind of like the X-Files.
Yes.
If
That's a good way to describe it.
yeah, but without the on a slightly smaller scale, because it's not the FBI, it's just the Chicago Police Department. And when this SI does the crimes, mostly murders, but crimes where stuff is weird, essentially. The weird stuff. The stuff that can't be solved by traditional forensics and police procedures. Um, but Harry is, when we're introduced to Harry in Stormfront, he is in his, what, like mid-20s, I think?
I
Like, they
think.
never get really specific on just exactly how old Harry is. In general, whenever the book was published, that should be about the time, year-wise, that it is in Harry's universe, up to a point. Up until
Right.
changes, obviously, because then a lot of time moves.
Yeah.
Moves very quickly. We jump ahead like 18, almost 18 months by the time we get from changes to cold days. So a lot of time has passed. But and it's fantasy, it is science fiction, it is also detective because because Harry is trying to figure out who done it. Um and why and how, all the things. Um it is very influenced by your film noir uh type films from the early days of Hollywood. You've got some femme fatales. Harry is very much, he's very coded.
Yeah.
As like a Humphrey Bogart type character. So he has very, thankfully we've got enough of these books that that we've been able to see Harry evolve as a person. But there's some things where he's just like, he's never going to change. But thankfully some of the harsher things where you're just like, ugh, he has grown out of, like, he's got these, and he thinks, and the thing is because of the way Harry grew up, his mother died in childbirth, his dad died of a supposed brain aneurysm,
Jury's out on that one.
Jury's out on that one.
Yeah.
Still,
I'm thinking that may have been helped via magic if
yeah. Well,
I just
jury's
got
still out on that. So
sneaky suspicion on that one, considering who some of his quote unquote adopted relatives maybe.
Yeah. So he ends up getting adopted. He was in the system. He ends up getting adopted once he starts showing magical abilities by this guy named Justin DeMorn, and is raised with a girl, a fellow practitioner. Eventually, shit happens, and Harry ends up killing Justin in self-defense, but it gets him into a lot of trouble. He ends up going under the wing of Ebenezer McCoy, who raises Harry until adulthood, and then Harry goes off into the big bad world, eventually gets his private eye license and all that fun stuff in Chicago, and has been building his life up to that point. But Harry's got, when he's starting out, Harry's got very he thinks he's being a gentleman when it comes to the opposite sex, but it comes off as very chauvinistic in some cases. Karen calls him out on it a lot, even in much later books, but it's more joking at that point. But early on, she's very much pointing out that he is a bit of a chauvinistic pig. So, and some of his inner monologue is very much that film noir, where when he we're being introduced to like a female character, it's almost always the first thing he talks about is how they look.
Right. The typical damsel in distress. And it's the typical
like she had legs for days, and
and it's the typical
voluptuous curves and
hard-boiled detective novels, which Harry probably read and enjoyed, and he's just kind of
so
I mean, Michael's trying his best to break him of that, but
which, I mean, the inner dialogue, at least he's keeping that inner,
right, and not external.
He's not saying it to people, but we're still hearing it, and it's like, dude, shouldn't be. And he's thinking about looking at women that way, but when he's around a woman, he's insists on opening the doors and pulling out their chair, and being the big strong man that comes in to save the day, even if the woman is perfectly capable of fending for herself, which a lot of these women are. So it's like, but he's like, I just can't stand it when somebody hurts a girl, and I'm like, Harry, get over yourself. So he thinks he's being chivalrous, which in certain situations it probably is, but the fact that he just does that every single time, it's like, Harry, get off your high horse. No, thankfully he's got people around him that are more than willing to take him down a peg or two, especially Karen. She's the one of the biggest influences on Harry.
You got Karen, you got Michael, you got Michael's wife Chastity, who you do not want to get on her bedside or meet her in a dark alley. Trust me.
So Karen is when we're introduced to her, she's the head of SI. And she is the one that got hired and uses Harry as a consultant. And when we're first introduced to her, she understands that there's things she can't explain. She's not necessarily 100% on board with all the magic and everything. She also does not trust Harry, which after, the first time I read through this series, which was several years ago, I was new. So I was like, okay, I was just taking everything in, but now, that it's not new to me and doing a refresh, a reread, like early Karen, especially in the very first book in Stormfront, I wanted to slap the shit out of Karen.
Uh-huh.
Because of how horribly she treated Harry for no good reason.
Yep. Well,
she was
threatening.
She was just so distrustful of him. And at this point, they've been working together for a while. And it's like, has he done anything to make you think that he is not on the up and up?
Right. He tries to tell you he wants to get all the facts first before making assumptions and leading her down a rabbit hole, which is going to be wrong, and have her get pissed off at him even more. It's like, what do you want me to freaking do? I mean, case in point, full moon, when she locks him up. And then, oh crap, Harry wasn't lying. Shit.
Yeah.
Too late.
Yeah. Like, the thing is, it's like Harry, he lives his life very black and white in a lot of things. As time goes on, he figures out that the gray is not necessarily a bad place to hang out in either.
Right.
But in general, he's never flat out ever lied to Karen.
No.
He's never really given her any reason to distrust her.
He may have had to twist the truth.
Or her to distrust him.
Lightly,
yeah, I mean, sometimes he does withhold things. Right. And
until he finds out for sure
I hate that
who's telling the truth.
Exactly. It's like, it's one thing to be like, to withhold information to quote unquote protect somebody because he thinks that if we're talking about Karen specifically, he thinks Karen needs protecting, or that he very much, he fulfills some of my most hated tropes early on, where it's like, I'm just trying to protect you, or no, this is my responsibility and I can't ask for help from anybody, even though I've got a whole group of people around me that have shown that they're more than happy to help and do not consider it any sort of burden.
Right.
Or anything, and they've shown themselves to be competent and and been able to, help build up Harry's toolbox, because he can't do everything.
Right.
There are just some things that he's just not good at.
Right.
Well, that other people are.
Right. Well, and then too, I could kind of see where he's a little gun shy too, because he doesn't know who might get paid off and who is working for certain relatives who may want to see him come to a very early demise.
Well, yes, that is true. I mean, not everybody is going to be above board there. I mean, the thing is like, there are some people that we have some characters that we know that they can be trusted.
Right.
Like Karen. And that street really should run both ways. But yeah, because it's like, as far as we know, Harry has never given Karen a reason to not trust him. Yet she is so accusatory in the first couple books that she is convinced that he is somehow, at least, if not the guilty party, somehow complicit in whatever the crime is, when ultimately
and mobbed up with Johnny Marcone.
Right. And he's just, he may not tell her everything right away because he doesn't have all the information. And like you said, he doesn't want to send her on a wild goose chase. The SI department is already small and underfunded because they think they're the laughingstock of the Chicago PD. So he understands that time and money is not something they have a lot of, and manpower.
And he doesn't want to put the heat on Karen because he knows that they're looking for any reason to shut that division down.
Yes.
And just sweep everything under the rug. So that's another reason. So it's just like,
yeah. Yeah. I mean, eventually Karen comes to realize that there are some things that, Harry will tell her what she needs to know when he knows it.
Yes.
But there are some times where he's not going to tell her everything because he does not have all the information.
Nope.
Yeah.
Would you like me to go with a 75% possibility that I'm right? Or would you rather have the 99.9?
Exactly. And eventually, they end up in some situations where the trust grows stronger. She learns to let loose a little and not be so anal about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, she actually gets to the point where I wouldn't say she's being careless because she's doing what she thinks is right. It does ultimately cost her job.
Oh yeah.
But she by that point she knows what she's doing and chooses to do it anyway. It's all done of her own free will.
Right.
Because she understands that there are some things
there
are some things that are more important than her having some title or a flashy badge or or something like that. So that helps. And Harry does soften, like I said, down the line. When she calls him a pig, she means it in a very lovingly joking way. Very
right.
Very much like
now
good friends will make fun of each other.
And that would have been completely different, but now,
So Karen, she's above board.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have the criminals, your non-supernatural criminals, although at least starting out non-supernatural criminals.
Right.
We find out later that Johnny Marcone decides to upgrade his way of living. But even then, technically he is, he's Don Corleone of Chicago.
Yes. Making offers that you cannot refuse.
Right, although Harry does several times.
Yes.
But the thing with Johnny Marcone is, he's a bad guy.
Oh yeah.
And he knows people, and he doesn't hide the fact that that's what he does for a living. He does not hide the fact that he's a mob boss.
No.
And is, and he owns
everything
a good chunk of Chicago.
In the tin. I mean, he might keep one or two little things hidden, but he is telling you the truth, or he might be lying, but the nugget of the truth is in the lie. You just have to pay real close attention.
Yes. So it's like with Johnny Marcone, I mean, what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Which, what I think is what makes him so dangerous. Because he's not going to, put on a front and make you, think that he's a nice guy or whatever. Because he's so honest about who he is that it leaves you kind of on the back foot because he can't be trusted.
Right.
So you can never really be comfortable when dealing with Johnny Marcone because it's a very dangerous thing to do.
Right.
You understand that he is a viper and could strike at any time.
Or
but
he's also his henchmen come and pay you a visit and not even realize that.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, but he's also, I mean, as honorable as a mob boss can be. A mob boss can be. He is very honorable. Like if you are, if you work with him and you are straight, you are good. You one of his guys, and you do the job, and don't screw things up or try to double cross or anything. He will treat you like family, and if somebody comes after you without any sort of justification, he's gonna have whether you are killed or not, he is gonna make sure that the ledger is equal. Yeah, he's gonna get his pound of flesh.
Either you be sleeping with the fishes or you're getting sized up for cement shoes, or both.
Exactly. So it's like it's a good and a bad thing to have someone like Johnny Marcone on your side. Yeah, which, I mean, as on your side as he can be, because the only side that he's really on is his own side. It's just if your goals, I guess, align
with his. Yes.
Yeah. if your current inclinations, yeah.
Yeah, whatever he needs to make his ends meet, and if it need be you, he's going to use you.
Yeah. So, I mean, he'll try to make it worth your while.
Oh yeah, yes.
But at
Dangle,
the same time,
dangle, but yeah.
Yeah. And then you also have, he's a major pain in the ass.
Yeah.
As far as Harry is concerned. Even though he does show that he's not completely heartless, like I said, he will do what he can for his men, the people in his employ. It's not all men. I mean, he does have guard later down the line. She's, she's the Brianna Tarth of that group there. But the other giant pain in the ass is the White Council.
Ooh, God, yes.
You've got the White Council. They are, the feds, the cops, they're all three branches of the government for all wizards, around the entire planet, and they're the ones that uphold the laws of magic, air quotes, that at some point Merlin, the literal Merlin, decided should be laws.
Mm-hmm.
Which even now, so many books in, we still don't know what all the laws are.
No. I don't know if we ever will.
I think we know like 3-ish, 3 or 4, and there's 10. It's kind of like the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's almost kind of like the equation, or parallel almost, NCIS, the Gibbs rules. We don't know necessarily how many there are.
And you don't necessarily know what they are until you break one.
Until you break one, yep. And then, there might be a couple little misnumberings here and there, but, kind of along the same lines.
Yeah.
You will find them out eventually if you cross. Don't do that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, we might.
Yeah.
By the time this is all over.
Yeah. Hey, Jim, that would be a great appendice. All the rules.
But if we don't know the rules, then we can't break them. Or at least we can't break them knowingly.
Right.
Like, what do I want to break that rule? So yeah, you have the White Council, which is made up of it's the Merlin. It's a title as opposed to the OG Merlin.
Yeah. And not to be confused with Seventh Doctor, the Doctor who has been known as Merlin.
Yeah. If you're a fan of like mythology of various sorts, you're gonna have a field day with these because
yes.
Jim at least does his research when it comes to various mythologies. I mean, we get Norse mythology, we get like Mexican, mythology, Native American, indigenous mythology. So that's anyway. We get, like I said, we get cryptids.
Yep.
Yeah. Harry is friends with Bigfoot and his son.
And then, let's not forget Harry's 2 pets. Mr.
His other
Mouse.
we'll get to the happier people in Harry's life though. But the White Council, which some of the other wizards on the White Council like Harry, some tolerate him, some absolutely despise him,
and some want him dead no matter what.
And some want him dead. You got Ebenezer, who raised Harry, and we find out down the line he's actually Harry's maternal grandfather. But has a lot of affection for Harry.
And don't blame him.
Yeah, I mean, when Harry's a member of the council, but he's not a warden when we're first introduced to him,
right?
But it is but we do have as things evolve and like eventually there's a war that starts between the White Council and the Red Court, because there are vampires, but the vampires are divided into 3 courts. There's the Black Court, which is going to be your, like, I think your more stereotypical, like super dark, evil vampires, which they've been mostly eradicated, actually. So it's mostly the White and the Red Court. The Red Court, they're going to be your bloodsuckers. That's how you turn someone is by biting them. Yeah. And then you've got the White Court, which they still feed, but they feed not necessarily on blood, but on sex.
Right. And then
so they're more like succubi than your traditional vampire. Although,
and then there's one more court that's been brought up. We don't know a whole heck of information about it, which is the Jade Court.
Yes, which the Red Court and ends up getting mostly destroyed. Much to Harry's dismay because of what he has to do it. The White Court, sometimes they come in handy. It depends on which family you're talking about. Obviously, the Wraiths are the big ones. Turns out that he's got a half brother that is a Wraith. So
Harry's kind of tied to that court, even though.
And if things go the way they're supposed to, and the way they ended Battlegrounds, he's going to be even more connected. So
exactly.
Thomas isn't just going to be his brother.
Nope.
Or just a half brother.
He's
going to be brothers-in-law. But so you got the vampires, you got the White Council. The White Council, the members change and shift as the war moves on. People get killed. Harry ends up becoming a full warden. Not just a member of the White Council, but actually becomes a warden because they need the members, essentially. They need a warden in Chicago and the surrounding area, and it's like, well, he's already established himself here, so I might as well. You got Ramirez, he's a good guy. You've got Listens to Wind, who's a good guy. He's a indigenous member of the White. He's a person of indigenous heritage, and therefore is also a shapeshifter, which also comes in handy. That's the kind of person you want on your side. Somebody with extra special powers like that. But there are, I meant to have the list because there's so many characters.
Well, then we got
some of them we think, the thing is, some of them we only see them, they're only in the one book and then we never see them again. Sometimes we'll see them in a book and then we'll see them again like 10 books later.
Well, just like with the Winter Court, I mean, Mab.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, then you have
she's another one.
You have the Residents of the Never Never. Which is the magical realm that is connected to the real world. You just have to know how to be able to pass between the two. And that's where a lot of the magical creatures live, including fairies and all sorts of, take your pick. Pick a random creature and something like it there. Something like it exists. So, but Fae are the biggest thing, or the she. And you've got the 2 courts. You've got winter and summer. Very literal in that case. Actually, they are ruled by each court has a queen, a lady and the mother. So mother, maiden, crone, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
And the and then also each court has a knight, which is a mantle that can be given and moved among people, that comes with its own set of abilities and responsibilities and stuff depending on which court it is. And you've got the summer, which, I like summer. I like the warmth. I would much rather, that and just the summer court, other than, when Aurora goes nutso. Um, uh, the summer court in general, so they seem to be nicer. So, because that they are the embodiment of the of the warm time of year.
Mm-hmm.
So they are warm, literally and figuratively. That doesn't mean that they can't be dangerous, but imagine a nice, warm, sunny day where you go outside and the sky is blue and the birds are chirping and it's got a light breeze and the grass is green. You can smell the flowers. You go for a nice walk and everything just feels, fabulous. That's what being a member of the summer court is kind of like. And that's what summer is supposed to embody. Winter, on the other hand, is everything that summer is not. They're cold, literally and figuratively. If they are harsh, they are sharp, they are unpredictable, in their own way. And unfortunately, Harry's got way more connections to winter than summer. First of all, his literal fairy godmother is a member of winter. Um, she serves Mab. And then eventually Harry becomes the Winter Knight, which gives him a whole, as far as his skill sheet in D&D goes way up. His ability to take damage goes up. A lot of it goes way up.
Yeah.
Although at the end of the day, unfortunately, Harry's mental fortitude does not really go up a whole.
Ooh, no.
I mean, Harry is smart.
He's got some minus there in the stats, depending on whoever you're dealing with.
Yeah, it's not that Harry's not smart. Part of it, I think, is the fact that I think Harry's just taken one too many head injuries to the head. I think there's probably something literally wrong with there, besides the parasite that's trying to kill him that eventually gets removed. Thanks to Molly. I believe Molly, if I remember correctly, Molly's the one that helps him with that. But Harry's just a lot, and this is something that I wish after all these books that Jim would kind of let's give Harry a few more points in that category on his character sheet. Because even now, there's just way too many times where Harry's like, wait, what? Or, it takes way too long for the penny to drop or for him to put puzzle pieces together. And I'm like, come on. After you've got all this XP, Harry, and it's not helping you any whatsoever as far as you're not necessarily failing your intelligence check, but you're not critting either. Yeah.
He must be rolling with a severe disadvantage, and he's getting crappy rolls with the disadvantage.
I guess something. Which, by the way, Dungeons and Dragons exists in the Dresden Files universe, so it's very appropriate.
Yes.
But and then so he's got his fairy godmother, who's a pain in his ass, as well. Mab, who eventually becomes his boss and decides that he needs to marry Thomas's sister, which is weird in a number of ways, but Laura and Harry are not blood related by any means, so we'll see what happens. in the new book. But yeah, you've got, but Thomas, Thomas is actually like a bit of a friend even before we know that he's Harry's half brother, and still ends up being a good person that is one of those people that is willing to help Harry when he needs it, and does not feel like it's an obligation or anything. And then you have the Carpenters with their 5 bazillion children.
Yep.
Which Michael, who up until he's forced to retire is a Knight of the Cross, one of 3 that wield a sword that seems to have supernatural abilities. That's each one supposedly contains a piece of wood and or a nail from the crucifixion. Also might be legendary swords from throughout history and mythology. Like, it's at one point Harry sets Molly on gives her homework to do to dig into her family history, because it's been wink wink nudge nudge pretty much. Well, eventually it does get spelled out, but before it does, very heavy-handed wink wink nudge nudge, that Michael's particular sword is actually Excalibur.
Yeah.
But yeah, Michael ends up getting seriously injured helping Harry out and is forced to retire, but thankfully, it doesn't it doesn't cost him his life.
No.
But then it turns out that Molly, their oldest daughter, has growing magical abilities, which isn't necessarily that odd, but that makes more sense once we find out that her mother Charity actually had magic herself and decided to ignore it, suppress it. But because it can pass through generations, especially mothers to daughters, it's not surprised that Molly has magical abilities herself, but her strengths are different than Harry's, which makes them a formidable team. Because she can do things that Harry cannot, and vice versa. Molly is very, very accomplished when it but Molly ends up becoming Harry's apprentice because he decides, or essentially he puts his life on the line to save hers, because as far as the White Council is concerned, anybody that breaks a law of magic, even if they don't know that they're breaking a law of magic, like if they're just starting to show magical abilities and don't know the rules, I do air quotes here, the rules yet,
yeah,
and they break one of those rules and the White Council finds out, in their mind, automatic. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Hope you had a good life. Goodbye.
Your soul is forfeit. Sorry.
Exactly. Which they would have done for Harry when he killed Justin, if it wasn't for Ebenezer.
Yep.
So Harry decides to do the same thing for Molly, and ends up being a good thing because she comes in really handy. For lots of things.
Yes.
And even Charity, once she softens to Harry, comes in handy, but she's a bit of a bitch to Harry until they kind of have a very frank discussion and come to an understanding. Yes.
I mean, granted, he's put her husband and her family in trouble. Some of it was not of his own doing, but she's got a little Molly Weasley in her. Let's put it that way.
Very much. Which, considering they have 7 kids, that works. There's more than one girl, though.
Yeah.
So he's got the Carpenters on his side. At least the ones that are old enough to do anything about it. Daniel gets involved later, once he's old enough. So, and then, at Harry's home front, starting out, he just has Mouse.
Yep.
Which is his huge cat.
Yep.
Who's more small farm animal than cat, from the sound of things, because he's like 30 pounds of just solid feline. But comes in handy, because he can make he has those senses that just animals in general seem to have. That was also very much cat, personality. Like, do I care about you? No, unless you're feeding me. In that case, I'll let you live. Yep. But Mouse also comes in handy when Bob needs a ride, at least again in the early books, because we have Bob the Skull.
Oh, yes.
I love Bob.
Yeah, I mean, don't let him anywhere near a college on a Friday night or a Thursday night.
Or Las Vegas ever.
Or ever, yeah. That too. Harry needs to keep him on a tight leash, but then Bob gets cranky and you have to let Bob a little bit off the leash. But
that's why he has the romance novels.
Yeah.
And eventually adult websites when he's living with Butters. I don't know what kind of virus I don't know what kind of virus protection Butters may have had on that computer, but it's probably a good thing that Harry fried it.
Yeah.
All things considering the websites that Bob likes to visit, we're probably just asking for Butters' computer to just be laden with all sorts of viruses.
Yep.
So I think in this case, Harry did Butters a favor with the computer. So
yeah, most definitely.
Good old Butters. Yes, Bob.
Yeah, Bob Butters.
I love Bob. And the thing is, like, even though Bob, he's called, we call him Bob the Skull. Bob is just the entity,
right?
That just lives inside of the skull as a way to, I don't know, something to live in, I guess.
Yeah. I think he hasn't decided to cross over, or there might not be a way for him to cross over, so he's kind of stuck.
Yeah, because I mean, he's able to speak and see things and hear things, and he doesn't necessarily have to be in the skull to do it. I think it's more just gives Harry something to look at. That's not just a flashing thing of light, or this ball of gas or whatever. And it's so funny though, because the skull, it's a real human skull, but like, it's solid. But every time Bob speaks, I just envision in my head the skull that is constantly like turning its head back and forth and bouncing up and down, or acting like it's nodding or shaking its head, and it's still got the lower jaw attached, but it's hinged so that it can open and close when Bob talks.
And every now and again, you might get an eye glow or a twinkle. Like he's being mischievous. Yeah.
Right. That somehow this solid piece of human bone is able to articulate way more than it actually can.
Right.
So, but that's just how I envision in my head. So I can see it clearly in my head.
I mean, that's how I kind of envision it too.
Yeah. But Bob is a spirit of intellect. So he's got, generations of information in his head, or he, if he gets permission to leave, he can go search things out. He's also a huge pervert. Everything is sexual in his book, if he can make a comment and make it sexual, he will. Bob has no filter whatsoever.
Nope.
So, which most of the time is perfectly fine. Sometimes he does not know time and place for appropriateness. And then yes, eventually Harry does get a dog. Mister, that's his cat. Sorry, Mouse is the dog.
Yep, Mouse is
they
the dog.
both start with M.
Yes, M&M.
Got it, because it stopped using names that start with the same letter. I get confused.
Yep.
I need more distinctive names to keep things separated. So, no, Mister is the cat. Mouse is the dog. Because when he first gets him,
had it right to begin with.
Yeah, when he first gets Mouse, he's this tiny little,
puppy
thing, and then he grows into. If Chewbacca was a dog, which that ends up becoming his nickname, so if Chewie walked around on all fours,
and this is a dog that's supposed to guard a certain holy magical temple, and Mouse just decides, nope, I don't want to do that job. I want to be with him.
I think as he recognized that Harry needed him.
Yep. That's my human.
It was kind of like the cat distribution system, but in this case, it's a magical creature distribution system.
Yep.
And we find out that yes, Mouse is more than just a dog.
Yeah.
He is he's a non-earthly being. He would be just at home in the never never as a lot of things. But he wants to live with Harry, so which you can't blame him. As long as Harry could feed him, which he may not have been aware of Harry's financials when he decided to move in and how much it would cost to feed him, but thankfully Thomas came around and Thomas had money. So
no, dog food ain't cheap, or if he's feeding them human food, it ain't cheap either.
So let's see who else we've got Butters, Waldo Butters, who is
Polka will never
die. He's a medical examiner and a nerd. He would fit in really well at Gen Con.
Yep. Well, he'd even fit in right with our group too.
Yes, he would. That too. But yeah, he loves polka, and thankfully that it's not just necessarily just traditional like German polka or Bavarian polka. That also includes Weird Al.
Yeah. Yep.
So we got that going for us too.
Yep.
Thankfully.
He plays D&D.
He plays D&D. And just goes to show that being a nerd does not mean that you got to be single. He ends up not just with one girlfriend, but two.
To paraphrase a certain hacker from Leverage, Age of the Geek, baby. Age of the Geek.
Yep. And Butters has actually shown himself to be quite handy with figuring out how to combine science with magic, because he doesn't necessarily have any innate magical talent himself, but he can figure out the science behind some of it and make that work. So like when he needs to communicate
a little,
right? So it's like when he needs to figure out how to communicate with Harry's ghost when Harry is temporarily disembodied. He figures out that if he uses Bob's light, he can see him, and then has a specifically built radio, he can hear Harry's voice. So, go Butters.
Yeah.
Plus, the man rode the skeleton. Well, I mean, because Harry used necromancy, it wasn't Sue's skeleton, that she did have flesh on her too,
Yep.
which made it a little easier to ride. But essentially, Butters rode Sue the Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Field Museum in Chicago.
That at the museum 2.3.0
to the campus of, I'm assuming that's the University of Chicago or something like that.
Yeah.
While continually keeping beat on a drum strapped to his. I imagine a contraption similar to what Dick Van Dyke's wearing at the opening of Mary Poppins.
Yes, exactly. That's kind of the image I had in my mind when I was reading it. Yep.
It manages to ride the Tyrannosaurus Rex while wearing a contraption like that and keeping constant rhythm. I mean,
that
go
takes
Butters.
Talent. Yeah, that takes talent.
You go, Glen Coco.
Honorary wizard there, Butters. Honorary wizard.
Yes. Yeah. So, and in a pinch, he can handle a sword pretty well too. So, and the swords don't seem to mind that he's not necessarily one of the knights.
Nope.
It's kind of like, it's not quite like, the wands in Harry Potter where,
right.
If it's not your wand, the wand's just like, I don't want to. In this case, it's like, no.
And it's not like Mew Mew from Thor.
Yeah, more like a lightsaber. Finn was able to pick up, Luke Skywalker's, which, I mean, Rey temporarily was holding it, but he was able to pick it up and use it. So, kind of the same idea.
Yep.
There's other peripheral characters that, again, some are good, some are neutral.
We can't forget Toot Toot. We can't forget Toot Toot.
Well, yes, yeah, we can't forget Toot Toot and the Za army. The liege of the Za lords.
And Za, we mean pizza.
Yeah, when it comes to fairy, there are different types of fairies. Like you have like Mab, and Maeve and the like, which they are mostly human looking. From the descriptions, just otherworldly good looking, and just have an aura about them. But you also have your more kind of traditional fairies, like what you think of like Tinkerbell, your tiny little fairies, which they tend to just kind of exist. At one point, a number of them are being have been enslaved, essentially, and are being used as lighting, essentially. For all intents and purposes, they're being used as lights. And Harry sets them free, which he'd already had Toot Toot on his side.
Yep.
Because Toot Toot really loves pizza. Toot Toot and Chauncey would get along really well with their love of pizza.
Yep.
But in freeing the other little folk, they are, and word gets out that Harry's the one that released them, and Toot Toot finds out, and he's like, yeah, because Harry Dresden, he's the Za Lord, he's fantastic, you're free now, you won't work for him, he'll give you pizza, and they're all for it. But Toot Toot is kind of the leader, and Toot Toot actually, I mean, I'm still a couple of books done from completing my reread, but I don't think it's ever explicitly said, but they kind of imply that I think the more that Toot Toot kind of, I guess, evolves as a creature, like as far as his as far as his confidence and his leadership abilities and everything, becoming the eventually major general of the Za Lord army, that he literally grows.
I think so.
He starts out super tiny, and by the time we get to I'm almost done with Cold Days. He's 18 inches.
Yep.
He's the size of a Barbie doll.
Do you want me to give you the final inch count for Battleground?
I don't know. I don't remember. I haven't gotten there yet.
30
So.
inches.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but but they never like explicitly explain why he's growing.
Right.
Because that doesn't seem like it should be something that can be done. So they should just say the size they are. So but hey, what do I know? Again, one of those things that maybe we'll find out, or maybe it's just something that we'll just, it just kind of is, and you just kind of have to take the information that you're given and be like, okay, that's my headcanon.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we have Toot Toot and the army. We have Ivy, who is the archive. So, she's the living embodiment of all recorded knowledge. She's she's adorable. So who else? Because I mean, the bad guys, like I said, some of them come, some of them go, so they're not necessarily ones that. I mean, we got the werewolves.
Yep.
We've got Will and Georgia and their friends. That they are, as we learned in Full Moon, there are different types of werewolves. They're the kind that they can just change at will.
And don't need a magical powered belt to do so.
Right. They don't have to wait for full moon or anything like that.
Right.
They can just change into their wolf form back and forth. Although you do end up naked.
Yep.
So because your clothes do not go with you. So when you change back, you're gonna be naked.
Kind of like the Hulk when you Hulk out.
A little bit. Little bit. Oh. Will and his friends, Will and the guys tend to live in like sweatpants. The girls tend to live in things like real breezy dresses. So easy to change. Obviously we've got Marcone, Morgan. Ugh.
Yeah.
One of the members of the White Council that would rather seen Harry dead more than anything. Which, again, reading first time around, you're like, oh, that guy's an asshole. Subsequent going throughs, oh my god, such an ass.
And how are you still living? Who hasn't decided to take you out yet?
Oh my god. Well, I mean, somebody eventually does, but
right. But you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but oh my god, every subsequent read through is every time Morgan and Harry meet, I just, oh my god, I want to punch Morgan in the face. Like, at least Karen, figures it out sooner rather than later. Morgan literally does not figure it out until he's on his deathbed.
Yeah.
That Harry is not a threat. That Harry is one of the good ones, but oh my god, he carries such a chip on his shoulder when it comes to Harry the entire time, and I'm just like, oh, screw you. So, like, when he finally does die, trying to do the right thing, he does take the fall for Lucio, but still, it's like, oh. I'm not necessarily sad that he's gone.
No.
Because it's like by the time he's literally dying and he finally tells Harry, it's like, oh, I guess I was wrong about you. It's like, ugh. In this case, it's like too little too late, dude. Sorry. Yeah. Oh. Like I said, we got Ramirez, who's a warden. He's a good guy. You got the other Knights of the Cross, Sonya, who is hilarious because he's Russian. So when Mr. when you listen to the audio versions, his Russian accent is quite fun.
Yes.
So
I mean, shout out to James Marsters
Yes.
for this. Oh my gosh. Perfect pick. Perfect pick.
Yeah.
There is one book called The Law, and that is narrated by the man himself, Jim Butcher, and he's just like, yeah, I tried. Nobody can hold a candle to James.
Yeah. And there was one of the main line.
Yes,
that
is...
originally James wasn't available for whatever reason. They had somebody else do it, and the entire time I'm like, "Can we get to the end? Can I just get this over, please?"
That has
and thankfully since then has been replaced with has been re-recorded.
Yes.
So
John Glover read Ghost Story. I happen to have a physical copy of it. Happened to go to an estate sale. Wound up finding it. I think I paid like $5 or $10 for it. I'm just like,
nice. Very nice.
Because I'm just like, Mom, I'll be right back. And she's just like, what? I'm just like, I want to check this out before it gets lost and it gets repriced.
Like, they don't know what they have here.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Because you can buy the books either hardback or paperback.
Yep.
They're still huge books, so therefore they are not cheap.
Yeah. I mean the first ones are small, but then later on they become doorsteps.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you get 50 plus chapters.
Yes.
In later books. So yeah. They get big. Yeah. So even in paperback form, it's going to be a good sized book and you're going to be paying the price for it. So,
yep.
But if you want the audiobook, the audiobook version, the only way you can get those is through Audible.
Right.
Although now also through Audible, they have they at least for Stormfront, there is a full cast.
And they just released Full Moon and full cast. I have yet to listen to it.
I'm kind of curious, but at the same time, I kind of don't.
Right. I mean, I enjoyed Full Moon, but I mean, when you start off with James Marster doing all the voices and that,
it's kind of hard to.
You kind of get spoiled, and it's kind of hard to get to. I mean, I enjoyed it, but it's just like to have that switch. It's like, okay. I mean, it's nice to have.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, the fact that James does all the voices,
yes,
and he's managed to encapsulate all of these different characters so well and made them so distinct, even though it's just him.
Yeah,
just him for every single book. So yeah, like I said, there's also a lot of bad guys. Some are bad. Some of them are just don't cross my path. Like the eldest gruff. The gruffs coming after him were not necessarily anything personal, but then he managed to squeal his way out of the eldest gruff taking him out.
Yeah,
cashing in his boon. Without like it's jelly with the donuts.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I did check the page count. 12 months is 480. So that's about 50 more pages than what Battleground was.
So it's gonna be another big one.
Yep.
So, you've got the hunt, the great hunt, and the leader of that. Harry's beaten him a couple times. And then they also meet in a neutral situation, so that there's nothing there.
You know who we're forgetting? Mac.
Yes.
From McAnally's Pub.
Yeah, good old Mac. Which we don't really know a whole lot because Mac doesn't say a whole lot.
No, he's a man of very few words. I mean, Battleground and Peace Talks, he's starting to talk a little bit more, but
that's out of necessity.
Yeah. There's some backstory, I think, with Mac that has yet to be revealed, and I'm thinking that we might find out more with these last few books, maybe.
Possibly. Very possibly. Yeah. There's been hints and kind of
Right.
little things drop that kind of make you think maybe you know. It's like
Right.
he's definitely not human.
No, exactly. Yeah, he's not human. That what?
Right. Yeah. He has to be some sort of like observer or
So,
something. The fact that he was able to get, his pub be, labeled as accorded neutral ground.
right. That's saying something.
Yes.
Because I
That
don't
is
think
very
they give that out. I don't think they give that out to just any old
right.
person.
Yeah, which in theory, I guess also means that he is a signer of the Unseelie Accords, which up until Johnny Marcone, no human had ever signed them.
Right.
So I think that also is a clue that Mac is not human. Plus, who can run a restaurant and bar in Chicago where his staple dish is steak sandwiches he makes on a giant flat top grill?
Mm-hmm.
The man also brews his own beer and never gets his apron dirty. There has to be something supernatural about that.
Yep. I would have to say so.
Yeah, I mean, they're just, I mean, we've got the Denarians, the fallen angels, we've got Demon Reach. The less I say about Carmichael, the better. No, actually, Carmichael is okay, but yeah, sorry, Carmichael. No, you're fine. You're good. Um,
Somebody else I'm thinking
yes,
of.
yeah,
I got you confused.
yeah. All right, I'm just like, again, there's a whole lot of people. Yeah, we got Father Forthill. He's another good one.
Mm-hmm.
Also licensed lawyer, not just a priest. So, but like I said, we got the big that we still don't necessarily know where this is going to go as far as he who walks behind. Like I said, if you're into mythology, you got quite a bit there. Like I said, they go to Mexico at one point, into Chichen Itza type area. So, which is funny if you there's a Dresden Files subreddit on Reddit, very active if you have any questions or anything. Which I'm sure starting tomorrow it's just gonna be nothing but people talking about 12 months. It already has been because some people have gotten their copies early. And try people are like, no spoilers.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they go to Mexico at one point. Like I said, we've got Listens to Wind, who is an indigenous person, and we've got we've got the Gloshi, which is kind of comes from indigenous folklore. We've got your Scandinavian Norse folklore, because we have Odin.
Mm-hmm.
Odin, who apparently runs a super high-end security company. Santa Claus actually exists in the Dresden universe. So does Hades.
Yep.
Still imagine he looks like the Hades from Disney's Hercules and probably sounds like James Woods.
Yep.
Sorry, that's the only version of Hades that I can even think about.
I'm right there with you, Rachel. I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Yeah, the Denarians. We've got Mortimer Lindquist, who's kind of neutral. He just kind of wants to live his life. He is an ectomancer. He does have some psychic ability. He doesn't actually want to use it, his actual abilities, when people come for seances and stuff, but he actually can contact the dead. He just doesn't like it. It's got there's Mac. Yeah, we got speaking of the Black Court, you got Mavra. It's just
God.
um
And why is it that almost some of the people that we love to hate or who are bad have M's for names? Be it first or last.
Yeah.
This is kind of right up there with Highlander the series with the K sounding or hard K immortals. Kronos, Callus, Kurgan.
Yeah.
All baddies.
Rudolph, that's who I was thinking of.
Yes.
The less I say about Rudolph, the better. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to put an explicit warning on this podcast episode.
Yeah.
Rudolph, asshole to begin with.
Yep.
Just as
Dirty
a person and his
so
personality. But what he does in Battleground, which oh my, I was right in there, like everybody's immediate like knee jerk reaction to that in the book. I was totally right there with him. Trying to avoid spoilers here because this is a big Battleground. It's the last book we got before the 12 months, and a lot of stuff is building up. It starts out as
Rudolph to begin with when he showed up in Full Moon, and he more than
not at all. Not at all.
Let's just say he's off the Christmas card list, and if he happens to get the same fate of a certain Hans Gruber, no tears would be shed. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Right? Am I right?
Yeah. Oops. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, because Rudolph, like, he is all talk and cannot back it up whatsoever. Because the man is really just a big old chicken shit. Because he actually has no redeeming qualities whatsoever.
Yep.
He's not extremely smart. He's not extremely athletic. He's okay, as far as like handling criminals and the like. He's just average, and I think he can't stand that.
Right.
And wants to seem like he's better, but he cannot back it up, and he keeps trying to do things to make Karen and Harry just look incompetent, so that makes him look good, and it's just like, ugh. Yeah, but then he goes and does what he does in Battleground, and it's just, there's no forgiving.
No. And just Rudolph is living on borrowed time. Let's just put it that way. The man is still lucky to be alive. Very lucky.
But if something happens to him,
no tears will be shed.
No tears. No, not at all. Nope. Not at all whatsoever.
Nope.
So
nope. I'm surprised Marconi wouldn't be like, Rudolph, come here.
Yeah. Thankfully, we do have Stallings. So, which he knew Murphy's father, who was also a cop, which is good. So I do hope that we get more. I mean, we actually get to meet Karen's father at one point, but it'd be nice to learn more about like the idea that her ending up as SI was not a coincidence.
Right.
By any means. But yeah. So there's just kind of just random characters. And it's hard to tell who's going to who might show up again.
Right. And the Blue Beetle is still alive and kicking, if memory serves. So, man, I'm surprised at that.
I don't remember. So it's not in Cold Days, or at least not to the point where I am in Cold Days. It's not back yet. It's still smushed. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's, each book is kind of like your monster of the week or your mystery of the week, but then some of these end up coming back to haunt us, haunt Harry. Sometimes literally, sometimes figuratively, and they find it turns out it's not just a one-off. They're part of something bigger.
Yep.
And that's something that Jim does really, really well.
I misspoke. Okay, Blue Beetle is no longer with us. For some reason, I thought it was. Sorry.
No,
wishful thinking. R.I.P. Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
That car had character.
Yes, it did very much. And it's something that Jim does very well is give us a crumb or a clue of something that we don't know that's what it is at the time until it pops up again later. He's very good about playing the long game.
You got to be careful with it because sometimes those throwaway lines are not throwaway lines.
No, they're not at all.
It's a gun, but that gun might not show up in Act 4. It might show up Act 13 way down at the line when you're least expecting it. And it's like,
yes.
What? Who's you? Wait a minute. That was okay. That was an actual thing. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. He, from what I understand, Jim has had this at the very least loosely plotted out since the beginning.
Yeah. And I think you can see it. Have things slightly maybe adjusted. Yeah.
Yeah. There are some things that, like, there's certain plot things that he knew had to happen. He just didn't necessarily know when. There's certain characters that have left for one reason or another that they had to happen. He knew was going to happen. Whether the fans liked it or not.
Yep.
I know a lot of people are hoping for some sort of, comeback after Battleground, very much like Harry was able to come back after changes, but I don't think this is called the Dresden Files for a reason. Harry had to come back.
Yeah.
But even Harry's story has to end eventually. I don't remember where it was. It may have been on Reddit. I think that someone said that Jim, I think, has Harry's story is supposed to go like 25 books or something like that.
25 or 26.
Yeah. So we're getting to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting into the last like quarter-ish, fifth. Yeah.
According to what I'm reading, around 25 books total is what I've been seeing.
Yeah. And this is going to be number 19, so.
And this is take this with a grain of salt, but the entire series will conclude with a large double-length apocalyptic trilogy, as stated by Butcher. Oh, crap.
I mean, the good news is that it takes a while for Jim to write these because he does have other series that he's working on as well. This is not his only foray into being an author. He does have other in other genres as well. And his son is actually an author as well.
Oh, yeah, his son's book. I've read his son's trilogy. It's good. It's got the Dresden flavor, but completely different setup. They're really good. I've read all three. I highly recommend them.
Yeah. So, like, if you like Jim's writing style, but maybe you want a different flavor, try one of his other things, or try one of his son's stuff.
Yep.
As well. Ignore these short-lived television series.
It's all right, but it's kind of how should I put it? It's kind of like the Outlander stuff from Stars in a way. The series is pretty. I don't even know. I want to say if it's completely dedicated and follows the books. It's a different telling.
Yeah.
Of Harry.
Well, and I think part of it is one, budget.
Yep.
Because you're talking magic and stuff, for this to be put in any sort of live action, whether it's a television series or movies or whatever, it's going to be very special effects heavy.
Yep.
Even if you manage to do some stuff with practical effects, that's still not cheap.
No.
Second of all, I mean, starting from the very first book, these books are dark.
Yep.
The language is harsh. The violence is violent. Yep. There is sex.
Yeah.
I mean, not just Bob looking at porn.
Right.
This is like, this is all.
We're not talking Game of Thrones here, but close, yeah.
But if somebody wanted to make this into a series, they are going to need a platform like HBO with the ability to like not be held back due to any sort of rating system or
Netflix.
Yeah, you need to have the freedom like Game of Thrones did to be as violent and as sexual and as it needs that kind of space to live in,
right,
for this to be adapted properly. Even if you shave out some of the peripheral stuff, do we need every time Harry has to take the blue beetle in to get it fixed? No. But I mean, there's, like I said, there's gonna be the magic, especially because Harry is very proficient at fire magic. That is his thing. So it's going to be a lot of pyro, a lot. Yes, fuego is one of his favorites. Every time I see a bag of Takis that's fuego flavored, I'm like, woo! Harry's favorite potato chip. Takis, fuego. So the minute you're talking about using fire, even when it's not his fault, it's not cheap to do fire effects. Again, even if you do it practically, it's and not an easy and cheap thing to do. You're talking about creatures and crawlies, so you're either talking CGI or a lot of Doug Jones, where are you? Let's put you in all sorts of prosthetics type work. The city of Chicago has Harry visits a lot of places that are very recognizable in Chicago. They go to Wrigley Field, they go to the Field Museum, they go to the aquarium, they go to they go to the university, they go
the highlights.
They go to the graveyard, the Neverland or Graceland cemetery. So you're gonna need to either film in Chicago, which then you're dealing with weather in Chicago, trying to work with that, or you need to replicate Chicago and convince people that it's Chicago. So that's not gonna be
which can be
either.
hard to do.
Yes, yeah, but it is a city that distinctive. Is very much and then there's just a lot of the running, the stuff that you expect to see, anything with the vampires, especially the White Court. You're looking at very elaborate, and some of the Red Court too. You're looking at very like opulent houses. The vampires and a lot of the Sidhe, especially the queen and the ladies, dress very, very well. Even if it's something simple, it's going to be the best fabric. It's going to be it's going to be cut and made like it's second skin for them. Anything, even the non mad spell related stuff that just occurs in Harry's world because he exists in that world, that we're going to expect to see things happen. Electricity and wizards do not mix. Harry walks into a room, somebody's computer explodes. You're going to need to make sure that people are going to be expecting electronics to be screwing up. every now and then, because that's just the way things work in Harry's world. So, um, can it be done? Absolutely. I think people probably thought Game of Thrones couldn't be done, and it got done. And hey, there's a hell of a lot more books in this series, so even if you started, relatively soon adapting these for television, even if you did one season per book, you're already in almost 20 seasons. So we could keep this going for a long time. Which honestly, I would kind of be here for it. I kind of like the idea of somebody giving another crack at it if somebody is willing to put the game, a Game of Thrones type effort behind it
and get good scripts.
Yeah, you gotta get somebody that can adapt the script, because all of these books are written from Harry's perspective, so it's a lot of first person narration, a lot of internal monologue that you have to figure out how to adapt that into scripts, and you've got to keep the language, the humor that we expect. Harry is very sarcastic, very dry humor, lots of pop culture references. He was able to consume a lot of media pre becoming a full wizard, and suddenly all electronics break. Yeah. He quotes Star Wars quite a bit. Princess Bride. All sorts of references. And I'm like, I understand that reference.
Yep.
So, but yes, they did try to turn it into a television series quite a while ago. It did not last for very long. It was not very faithful to the books from what I understand. So I would stick with the books, either the the physical books or the audio. You could do either. It's up to you. Because the audio, it's exactly what it says in the book. I'm physically reading the last few ones at the moment, and it's just like I can just hear James's voice in my head and the voices and everything. So it's like I got my own little version going on in my head while I'm reading the actual book.
Mm-hmm.
There are some graphic novels.
Yep.
Out there as well. There is a role-playing game. There's an RPG.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, and a tabletop game. So, it's got a pretty solid fandom. Like I said, the Reddit, very active. And Jim is unless something comes up, Jim usually, if you go to Dragon Con, Jim is at Dragon Con quite a bit, and he is doing a book tour for the new book. So he was in Seattle, Washington today. Tomorrow he's gonna be in Portland. And then he's in San Diego, Kansas City, Houston, Denver, Huntington Beach, and then Salt Lake City on the 27th. So
nice.
So short little tour for that. And recently he did an AMA on Reddit. So
gonna have to check that out.
Yep. So yeah, Jim's not, he is online. He's not, hugely active, but he is there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he does let people know, the the status of, books. So, we've been, we knew the title for this one for a while. We've just been kind of waiting. And Jim's, every so often giving us updates, and the next book is already in progress. He's actually got a little progress bar on his website for when's the next book. Mirror, mirror, it's at 28%. So I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm excited and nervous.
Yes.
It's like even the stories that I know, it's like, you know, doing the reread. It's like I already know what's going to happen, but there are some times where I'm just like Doctor Who. It's like I know the Doctor's going to live, but still,
going back to reread is like, do I want to relive this trauma?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Much like Doctor Who and other things where there's just a lot to consume, if you're just coming in, is going to look scary.
Yeah.
It's going to look scary how much there is. That is okay. I felt the same way.
Yep.
But you guys were like, no, you'll like it. There's magic and, you know, it's set in Chicago and it's, you know, it's funny and it's all those things.
It gets better after the first couple of books.
Yeah. The first couple of books, it's very much, you know, we're, like I said, we're jumping right in. Harry's been in Chicago for years, established himself.
And we're finding our feet too.
Yeah.
A bit. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, it can seem like a lot. It's worth a ride, especially once you get past those first couple, especially once Karen starts to open up.
Yeah. When Karen starts to get her head on straight.
Yes, that helps things a lot. Helps a lot. So, but yeah, you know, if you're joining, you know, if you're already caught up and you're joining us, join the rest of us for 12 months, good luck.
Yeah, we're in this together.
We're in this together. Feel free to, you know, message us on Facebook or something. Yeah. We'll see you on the Reddit if you're on the Reddit.
Yeah. Here's hoping that it's not going to be a Deathly Hallows scenario with chapters. And what do you mean XYZ? Yeah. No.
Hopefully not. Like I said,
I'm hoping not.
This is not the end.
No.
That's the thing. That's the thing that helps. Is this is not the end.
We still have a few more books going. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just, again, that's just the main series of novels. That doesn't include the offshoots.
Right.
So, you know, the graphic novels, the briefcases, the side jobs. Occasionally Jim will write a short story in that universe that Harry's not even involved in at all.
He has another one that ties in with the law called Outlaw, and that's going to be coming out on May 5th. So yeah.
There's plenty to consume. And hey, if he's, you know, like I said, Jim really doesn't do conventions except for Dragon Con, but James, on the other hand, does do
his
conventions.
Son. His son.
And totally, you know, is obviously most people are there for him for, the Buffyverse, but but you know, I met him several years ago at PopCon. That was a very fun PopCon that particular year. It was the same year Rooker was there, so it was all sorts of shenanigans happened that year. But you know, I'd had him sign my Doctor Who thing because he was an episode of Torchwood. But when I did my professional photo, I'll put it in the show notes. But our professional photo is I made a sign for each of us to hold with an arrow pointing to the other person, and the sign he's holding pointing towards me says professional nerd. And the sign I'm holding with the arrow pointing to him says professional wizard.
Nice.
And he totally understood the assignment. So the look on his face is like, absolutely. I'm gonna like, cross me, I will fuego your ass.
Yes. Yep.
So, which was funny considering, when I was standing in line waiting for, to get my autograph, and he hadn't showed up yet. I was standing there waiting with other people, and some people, most people were there because of Buffy. But it was, me and somebody else were talking, and I think we were able to introduce at least one other person that was waiting in line to the Dresden Files because they hadn't heard of it. So they did not know that James narrates them. So you're welcome, and I'm sorry. Oh my. Oh, anything else? Otherwise, we'll probably just sit here and psychoanalyze.
I think we covered everything.
I mean, as we can.
As we can, yeah. I mean, there might be a few things that, oh, dang, we forgot to mention hey.
There's just so much that it's
close to 20 plus books. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. There's on Audible, there is I should go back to listening to it. On Audible in their podcasts, they have a podcast series called, hold on, let me make sure I get it right. It is called The Podcast Was on Fire and It Wasn't My Fault. And it is kind of like Traveling the Vortex, where one person has read the entire series and the other person's a newbie.
Nice. I just started to follow it.
Yeah, but they have to break the books down into chunks of chapters just because they're so long. So there's a lot of podcast episodes.
Yeah, 147 as I just checked.
Yeah. So I'm not and they're still going. So yeah, they're they have done they've done them all through Battleground. They've done The Law, and I Was a Teenage Bigfoot. They've done the Bigfoot stuff. So, and they just they posted a new episode yesterday. So I'm sure they're anxiously waiting, just like the rest of us, for the new book to drop. So, but yeah, it's it's been fun to listen to the newbie speculate, very much like when I first started listening to Traveling the Vortex. And you got your experts that they know what's happening, and then you got your newbie, and you hear the speculations, and you're like,
and you just want to bite your tongue, like, oh yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, just wait, it's worse than what you think. It's like, oh, that would have been nice, but
or in some cases, like, oh, you're so close, and you're gonna hate that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. Like, you're gonna be wishing that you weren't that right or that close to right.
Yeah. So good luck. Enjoy the ride, and we'll be here for moral support or a shoulder to cry on, depending on how things go. And oh Lord,
or you can help us decide who we need to send to Mouse to turn into a chew toy.
Yes, team up with Mr. and
that too.
Yeah, we'll have Mr. set on
faster.
We'll have Mr. set on the person's chest.
Yep,
so that they can't go anywhere. And then Mouse can just have at it. Oh my. Okay. See, again, CGI, because there's no dog in existence
that's gonna
like
fit
Mouse.
That type of dog. Yeah, exactly.
At all.
Well, Mister's nothing to sneeze at either, because I don't think that's a regular house cat either.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's some big cats out there. If it wasn't for the fact that he's described as just being very big and solid as opposed to like long, like a Maine Coon, where he was also like, oh, he's super long and fluffy. Then I'd be like, oh, he's like a Maine Coon. But no, he's just a tomcat, but he's big and not necessarily in a fat way. He's just Harry, just like, you know, he has a way of attracting very solid animals, for better, for worse. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry. So, all right. Well, if our listeners want to join in, if you've read the Dresden Files, you can let us know what you think. Are you ready for 12 months? Are you gonna jump in right away, or are you gonna give it a little, you're gonna give it a little time? That's part of the thing, is like, it's not gonna drop until like 3 a.m. for me. I'll be in bed, and then when I get up, I'm getting ready to go have a medical thing done. So I'm gonna be like out of it the rest of the day. So it's like, do I really want to start it knowing I'm not gonna be able to finish it?
Right.
Yeah.
Or devote your full concentration to it. So yeah.
Well,
maybe I don't say listen on the drive in, but then it'd be just like, ooh, but then you'd want to listen on the drive back.
Right.
Being a chauffeur,
yeah.
So it's like, ooh, I don't envy your situation at all.
Yeah, I know. So I'll play it by ear.
Yeah.
I can also take my physical books with me too, and I can continue to read those as well. So
yep.
I'm kind of like with you, Holly. It's like I would have liked to have been able to get through everything before 12 months drop, but you know what?
Yeah.
I can always go back and finish them after the fact and just fill in some gaps. So
yep. Well, and then 12 months, start back where I left off in my reread and go back and then hit 12 months again. Ooh, that makes nothing wrong with that. No.
Yeah. So
sometimes
but anyway,
those first world Fanish problems aren't necessarily a problem.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my. So yeah, you can email us fiveishfangirls@gmail.com, or go to our website, which is fiveishfangirls.com, where you can connect with all of our various social media accounts and also find ways to financially support us and join the book club, speaking of Doctor Who, and all those fun things that are on most websites. So it's been, there's a good enough gap there in between the last book and this one that I've been able to read, at least get through them all the first time, and then I feel kind of like the first time when I was like, oh, I'm actually going to experience a doctor regenerating in like real time. It's my first New Dresden book in real time with the rest of y'all. So, all right. Well, with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana, just a few hours outside of Chicago, depending on how fast you decide to drive. Driving isn't, it could be fun. I think Harry said it best once. It gets sort of zen after a while. Life is a journey, time is a river, and the door is ajar. Thank you, our Fiveish fam, for joining us on this week's geeky journey. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. Stay connected with us on our website, theFiveishFangirls.com, and follow us on most social media with @FiveishFangirls. Plus, check out our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back, to see how we're making a positive impact in our community. Until next time, stay nerdy and let the squee continue.